Day one in the books. What did we learn from yesterday's press conference with the new general manager and the head coach of the Miami Dolphins? We'll get into it. We'll talk about where the Phins go from here and what's next. Until then, Fins up, baby.
Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. The Fin smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold an obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, Could try to play.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. This is home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Welcome. Good morning. A lot to talk about. We got to meet our new general manager and head coach yesterday. They did a introduction press conference. We'll break that down. We'll break down the direction of that this football team should be headed, the direction that I think this football team will be headed under the new management. Just a lot of things to talk about. We got a lot of time between this season and next season. This team needs a lot of work, and we're going to be here talking about it all along the way. So strap in, folks. Good morning, Marcos. Shauno, what up? How are you guys doing this glorious Friday morning? Marco smoking them green things and drinking some coffee. That's always nice, right? And Shauno, what's up with your Bills, baby? What's up? You guys are out looking for a new head coach. To be honest, I think if McDermott was let go earlier, you would have had a good shot at John Harbaugh. I don't know if you would have been interested in him, but you know, it is what it is. The Miami Dolphins yesterday held their preliminary press conference or introductory press conference for the GM and the head coach. GM Sully, he likes to be referred to as Sully. That makes it a lot easier than saying John Eric Sullivan every time, which I like. And then we have Coach Half. Coach Half. So instead of Coach Hafferly, he likes to be referred to as Coach Half. That makes things a lot easier. So it is what it is. I like that they came out. I love the things that they said. I've been extra critical of the moves that the Miami Dolphins have made so far. For various reasons. For various reasons. And a lot of the fan base, I'm facing backlash. They're saying stay positive, Big C. Give them a shot, Big C. This was the right move, Big C. And I'm struggling to see it. Now, yesterday I did get that warm feeling in my belly, but I've gotten that feeling numerous times over the course of the last 30 years. Starting back with Jimmy Johnson taking over for Coach Shula. And I can't help but to be more skeptical. It's easy to win a press conference when you know what to say, when you have someone and you have the time to build up what you're going to say. If you go back and look at Chris Greer's press conference, it was very similar to Coach and GM Sullivan and Half's press conference. So I'm sorry that I'm skeptical. I'm going to try to be positive. I'm going to try to base my opinion on these two men from what they do moving forward, not from my past experiences with the Miami Dolphins. I can't let the fact that I've been hurt in the past by ownership, by past general managers, by past head coaches affect my opinion of these two gentlemen. That would not be fair. Destiny has arrived. See, now, Miller, you're jumping way out the boat, brother. And I wish you would calm that down a little bit. Now, key things that this Coach Sully, our GM Sully, and Coach Half said yesterday. Very non-committal on Tua Tagovailoa. No surprise there. Chances are Tua has taken his last snap with the Miami Dolphins. That's a no-brainer. People can see that coming from a mile away. Other things I've taken from these two gentlemen is that they're dedicated to hard work. They're dedicated to working together to try to bring the best quality type players to grow this franchise back into a winning franchise, because it's been a long time. And I believe these guys are dedicated to their craft. I believe that they're dedicated to their craft. I believe that they're going to work hard. I believe they're going to do everything in their ability to make this team into a winner. Where I have the issue is I don't know how qualified they are to do that. They said how they're dedicated to solidifying the offensive and defensive line, the trenches. We've heard that. Chris Greer famously said that in his press conference, and we all seen how that turned out. I believe these guys more than I do Chris Greer. They come from an organization in the Green Bay Packers that, they care about the big and uglies. They care about having a good offensive line. They care about having a good defensive line. So there's lots of things to discuss. There's lots of things to like from yesterday's press conference. I'm not going to lie. I love the emotion that both these gentlemen showed. I love that Coach Half got, choked up discussing becoming a head coach, discussing doing things for his family. I love that. But again, when you look at the history of the Green Bay Packers and what they've done and how they've built their teams, I don't know if that is necessarily the right way to go about it. Green Bay is historically not went after big time free agents, and I don't think this is a league that you can do that in. I think the league has changed. I think you have to target big time free agents. You can't just build through the draft. You can't. Now you want to get your core from the draft, right? You want to be able to retain your own players. But you gotta be enticed to bring in free agents. And I really hope that they don't try to go full balls to the wall Green Bay Packers style. I hope that's not the direction they go in. I hope that they can be their own men. Yes, they learn their intangibles from the Green Bay Packers. They, GM Sully learned what it is to be an executive from the Green Bay Packers, but you got to bring your own twist. You can't do it exactly like the Green Bay Packers have done it. Let's be honest. The Green Bay Packers haven't had that much success in the last 20 years. Have they have winning seasons? Yes. Have they have division titles? Yes. But not a lot of success in the playoffs. And you can't take for granted the fact that they've had great quarterbacks. Quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre don't fall off trees. You've been lucky that you were able to have those quarterbacks when you did. Did you hear that when we were cap available, will we address free agency? It leads me to believe we're going to eat the full $90 million on Tua in 1 year. I think that's a smart move. We're going to take a look at that. I was crunching numbers yesterday. It's hard to do as far as, giving people contract extensions because you don't know what those numbers are going to look like. So it's hard to do the salary cap on these cap calculators and get it to where it's spot on, but you can do a little bit of work with them and you can mess things around a little bit and you can get a good idea of what you can do and what you can't do. As far as Tua moving out from Tua and taking the cap hit in 1 year, I mean, it makes sense for this regime coming from the Green Bay Packers, a regime that is not big on signing high-priced free agents and free agency. Free agent dollars don't matter as much to the Green Bay Packers, to Green Bay Packers management as it does the rest of the league. Marco said, I saw the press conference yesterday. I got a good feeling about Sully and Half. Sully and Half did a wonderful job in yesterday's press conference. They did a wonderful job. They won the press conference. They did. But how hard is it to say what people want to hear? You come in and you know what people want to hear. We're gonna be dedicated. We're gonna do things the right way. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna knock out the BS. You know what I mean? And I don't want to take away from yesterday, but at the same time, it's not hard to win press conferences. It's definitely not hard to win press conferences. Let me fix this title real quick. Okay, sweet. Miller says, Sully spoke twice to bring the Green Bay way here. I think we're going 100% into that. And when asked what that means, he couldn't dilute it because it'll give other teams this secret sauce. I just want to know what that means, though. It means that they're going to try to build through the draft. That you can expect, us not to attack high-priced free agents. That they're going to, Coach Half said yesterday, he wants to address the trenches. He wants big, physical, strong guys down there. He wants offensive linemen that, when teams know we're going to run the ball, we still can run the ball efficiently and successfully. Now, where does that leave, Aaron Brewer? Because Aaron Brewer is not a big physical offensive lineman. He's more of a finesse guy. Does that mean that we look to trade Brewer? Does that mean we look to trade Brewer? Because Brewer doesn't fit the mold of what he's talking about. You got to look up and down this roster, and we don't have a lot of playmakers, a lot of players that necessarily I would think that this regime would want to keep around long term. Mike McDaniel built his team a very specific way, and that doesn't match being big, physical, and strong. We were a finesse team, a team built on speed. So of course, the players that we have here now don't match what the Green Bay Packers have done over the last 30 years. And the Miami Dolphins, they're in purgatory right now. You know what I mean? We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a salary cap space. But again, these guys aren't about building a football team using their salary cap space. They're not a team that wants to go out and spend 150 million in salary cap. Now, do I think that's a mistake? Absolutely. You got to utilize each and every tool that's at your disposal. Now, of course, you want to have money to re-sign your own guys. But look at the past few years. If we would have re-signed some of our key guys, Christian Wilkins, if we would have re-signed him, and maybe if Christian Wilkins gets re-signed with the Dolphins, he doesn't get hurt. Who knows? But he did get hurt for the Raiders. He did. He's not on a professional football team right now. Look at Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt's dealt with consistent injuries since leaving. Those are guys that each wanted $20-25 million that we decided to move on from. And it ended up being the right move. Now, those are guys that GM Sully would absolutely re-sign in a heartbeat. So it's a double-edged sword. You gotta know when to move on, and you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. Any word on the OC yet? No, like I said, they might try to plug someone from the Green Bay Packers. They might try to, Minnesota's passing game coordinator. Who knows? Whoever they bring in is probably not going to have very much experience. That definitely worries me. You got an inexperienced head coach. And you can say what you want about Halfley. He has a little bit of coaching experience at Boston College. But Coach Half doesn't have a whole lot of experience leading a locker room. He doesn't even have a whole lot of experience being a coordinator. Most of his career was spent as a positional coach, an assistant positional coach. So that definitely gets me worried. Another thing that Coach Half said yesterday is that he will be calling the plays defensively. I don't know if that's really a surprise. He said he takes great passion in it. He takes, I don't know if I love that. I wish you could find a coordinator that could call defensive plays and you work with that defensive coordinator and coming up with a game plan on a weekly basis. I just think for a first-time head coach, laying down the responsibility of calling plays and running a whole football team is a lot to ask a first-time head coach, and I am a little disappointed in that. Not surprised, but disappointed. I would have loved for him to say, no, I won't be calling plays. I will oversee the defense, but I won't be calling plays on a week-to-week basis. So definitely a little bit disappointed in that. But there's a lot to work out. There's a lot of kinks to work out. We gotta figure out who we are hiring as the offense and defensive coordinator. Obviously, the offensive coordinator is a much bigger deal because Coach Half is calling the defensive plays. So our defense is in the hands of Coach Half. And most people would feel okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, him running the defense. You know what I mean? I feel like he's a decent defensive coordinator, but we got to find someone that can run this offense. We got to find someone that can be the head coach of the offense. Miller, I don't believe any of those guys are going to come play under him, a first-time head coach. I don't believe it. Maybe, and that would be the best case scenario. If you could get a Brian Dabo in here to be the offensive coordinator, if you get a Cliff Kingsbury who has head coaching experience and is a brilliant offensive mind in here to be the offensive coordinator, that would definitely be beneficial to this football team. What up, JD? I think that would definitely be beneficial. You need someone that can run that offense, and he doesn't really have to stick and put his nose into it too much, because he's gonna have his hands full with the defensive side of the ball. Now he was given a 5-year deal. If you're not a team that's going to really attack free agency, you're going to take 3 of those years to get this roster into a position that maybe you feel comfortable with the type of guys on this roster. Because we spent the last 4 years building a football team around Mike McDaniel, around Tua Tagovailoa, a team built on speed. This guy isn't about that life. Again, he is a guy he wants to build a football team that is based on physicality. And that's going to take time to do. Again, when you rebuild a football team, you got to use every aspect that's available to you to build a football team. And I worry that these guys are too consumed with doing things the way that the Green Bay Packers have done. And I think that's going to hurt them. This is a new league. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles, a bunch of free agent signings. They went and traded for a number 1 receiver. They won a Super Bowl. The Rams a few years ago, they went and traded for high-priced, big-name players. They won a Super Bowl. Look at the New England Patriots. They spent over $150 million last year in free agency. They're probably going to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, if you want to rebuild this team quickly, free agency is definitely a key component. And again, you're right. You build a team through the draft, but you got to be able to be able to add pieces to your roster from free agency. And sometimes that means going out and getting the high price free agent. I think Joe Brady would be a good offensive coordinator for us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any of those guys that have ran successful offenses in the NFL, I'm for. I'm for. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the salary cap. There's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of different opinions what we should do with Tua Tagovailoa. I think that the Miami Dolphins should 100% just eat it this year. Just eat it this year. Why not? Why not? This year is going to be a wash year. It opens you up for 2027 to be reset. He can be completely off the books. We'll have a ton of cap moving forward. Cap calculator. Over the cap. Boom, 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 boom. Now, again, I'm not a professional at this. So please bear with me. Share screen. Salary caps. Share. Boom. Add to screen. Boom. Okay. Click on the Miami Dolphins here. As of right now, 30 million over the salary cap. So you can release two guys pre-June 1st and designate them as post-June 1st guys, right? Post-June 1st guys. But let's go through and just get rid of some of the guys that we can get rid of right off the jump. We're 30 million over. I think by March 2nd or 3rd, we got to be under the salary cap. So let's go down. First guy, Alec Ingold. Not a lot of guys use fullbacks. I wouldn't be surprised if Alec Ingold is one of the guys gone first. We caught him, saved $4 million or so. Jason Sanders. Jason Sanders is expendable at this point. He'll save us quite a bit of money. Is it only that? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's take a look at Jason Sanders again. Undo. Got post 6-1. Play 3. I think we can get away with cutting him pre. Undo. Cut. Pre 6-1. Yeah, all right. So we cut Jason Sanders. Now, again, this year is not that important as far as salary. We know we're going to be bad. So we got to get under the salary cap before March 2nd. But we're not in a hurry to free up a bunch of cap space in time to sign free agents this offseason. This is a whitewash year. So we're not in a hurry to go after the big name free agents. Again, that's not the avenue that Sully and Coach Half want to go anyway. So we can wait to release a bunch of these guys and not worry about, oh, we're going to miss out on free agents. No, it's not a big deal this year. It's not a big deal this year. But we do got to get under the salary cap by March 2nd, I think it is. So we're gonna label Tyreek a post 6-1. Submit that. And then Bradley Chubb also a post 6-1. Submit that. That takes us $32 million under the salary cap right there. That takes us $32 million under the salary cap right there. Mike went to the Chargers. If that's who you're talking about, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel went to the Chargers. So that takes us 32 million under right there. Those moves. Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know when his bonuses kick in and stuff. If you cut him pre 6-1, 99 million, that would take us 10 over the salary cap. Post 6'1", submit is 67. But you want to do the pre 6'1", because I think that takes him off completely for next year too. Yes. So we'd have to find another way to free up another $10 million. I think giving new contracts to Aaron Brewer and new contracts to Jordan Brooks would probably take you dead even. Dead even. Okay. Yo, if Mike McDaniel goes to the Buffalo Bills, I guarantee they sign Tyreek Hill. I guarantee it. I guarantee Mike McDaniel signs Tyreek Hill and the Buffalo Bills will be in the Super Bowl next year. So if you give a contract, if you renegotiate, well, no, you give contract extension to Jordan Brooks and the Aaron Brewer. Submit, restructure. We're just going to do the restructure right now because I don't know what the numbers would look like. We'd be 1 million over. We can figure that out. Right here, look at this. 2027, that'd leave us open for $157 million in salary cap space for next year. And then when you get to June 1st, there's other cuts you can make. Austin Jackson, cut post for June 1st. That saves you $11 million. Zach Wilson, cut June 1st. That saves you another $4 million. Nick Westbrook-Akine. That takes us 15 million under. That's with eating Tua's whole 99 million. And we'd jump up to 154 million for 2027. 2028, we'd be up to $234 million in salary cap space. Or you can undo this Tua contract and you can cut them post for June 1st. But that's going to take away next year's salary cap. That'd leave us with 47 million this year. A little less next year. But again, this is a regime. This is a coaching staff and a front office that's not huge on going out and spending heavy in free agency. So maybe they're all right taking the partial hit this year and a partial hit next year. Right? Maybe they're okay with doing that. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I bet you 100 cash Tyreek only goes to KC. I don't know about that. I think he'd be more than happy to go to Buffalo and play with Mike McDaniel. He had the best years of his career under Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is going to give him an opportunity to get his life back on track. He's going to go wherever he can go to hopefully get one more bag. He's going to sign a prove-it year deal with the Buffalo Bills, and then he's going to sign for 1 year, $28 million next year, and maybe he goes back to the Chiefs. I hope Mike gets the job in Buffalo. I truly do. I think this franchise did Mike McDaniel wrong. I do. They made him believe he was safe. They stuck him with a quarterback that was often injured, that was limited. And I know that he went for bat for Tua, for his contract. I get it. I get it. But Chris Greer was not a very good GM, and I think Mike McDaniel got a raw deal. I do. And I think this is a situation where it bites the Dolphins in the ass. I really do. What Ross do to make Mike hate us? He made Mike feel like he was safe. And then he went and kicked his door down and fired him. And that was wrong. Miami will be fine in a few years. JD, I hope so. I hope so. This is a different age in the NFL, though. We got to admit, you got to use every weapon available to you. And free agency is definitely a huge weapon. How successful have these guys really been the last few years in Green Bay? They don't have a season where they've won 10 games. Yeah, they've made the playoffs. But we're not talking about them being dominant. They haven't won 12, 13 games. And look at the Packers the last 20 years. How much does their success come from them having Hall of Fame GOAT quarterbacks of all time? How much of the success comes from that? How good would the Green Bay Packers have been if it wasn't for an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre? And Sully had nothing to do with bringing either of those players there. Green Bay and Miami are different franchises. Yes, but if you bring in people from the Packers who want to build your team like the Packers are built, I mean, and JD, you're right. We do got to let it play out. And we'll see what we get. But from yesterday's news conference, from what we've heard so far, this team strictly wants to build through the draft, retain its own players, get big and physical, which I like. I like getting big and physical. I've said for years that the trenches are the main reason that we have trouble winning in cold weather. They're the main reason we have trouble winning when it gets to October, November, December. I hope they're not, JD. I hope they're not. I hope that they realize that, free agency is a key component to building a football team. Look at the New England Patriots this year. If New England didn't go out and spend 150 million or whatever they spent last year, do you think New England would be fighting for a Super Bowl right now? No, they wouldn't be. What up, Michael? Good morning. Real Survive. How you doing, brother? Eric said one thing that we fight over: who sets the culture, and he said the GM and the head coach. Well, that's one thing that I think they will bring, and that I'm excited for. I think they're going to bring in a culture where, it's not acceptable to not work hard. It's not acceptable to not give your all. So I'm excited about that. Absolutely. I mean, JD, when they say that, what can you gotta go based off what they say. When the new head coach and the new general manager are from the same franchise and they talk about building the franchise like the Green Bay Packers, I mean, why wouldn't you think that they're gonna? Not acceptable to show up to me. And JD, I agree. You need to go off what you see. You do. You absolutely do. You can't automatically say that, you got to re-sign your players and we're not going to build through free agency like that. How do you know who becomes available? Are you telling me that if Jamar Chase becomes available tomorrow, you're not going to pursue him? Ross took no accountability. He's a big Ross struggled to remember John Sullivan's name. Stephen Ross had to look down at his paper to remember John Eric Sullivan's name. Did anybody catch that in the press conference? Anybody catch that? Why would you like to see Tua with Halfley? Halfley's a defensive coach. Halfley's not going to do nothing for Tua. I mean, there's a reason that, GM Sully, I'm just going to start calling him Sully. Sully said that him and Danny Stillman are talking on a daily basis multiple times a day. Because Stephen Ross is starting to take a step back. Stephen Ross is 80 plus years old. When you get to that age, I mean, your mental abilities definitely start to leave you to a point. So I'm not surprised that an 80 plus year old man is, not as sharp as he once was. Listen, Jocelyn, Tua's done for, bro. I'm sorry. We might as well stop talking about him except when we're releasing him. There's no possibility, there's no chance that Tua Tagovailoa takes another step for the Miami Dolphins. There's no chance, no opportunity. Miller says, I dislike Joe Brady. He has the greatest assembled team ever in college. Went to the Panthers and failed because he can't generate and work with less than you give him a top 3 quarterback in the league. Nah. I mean, Sully didn't say it. Sully didn't say that Tua was done per se. He said, we can't speak on it before we have any conversations or do our due diligence, which is exactly what he's supposed to say. Tua's getting cut this year. Tua's not going to be on this team. Tua's getting cut this year. Whether they do it pre-June 1st or post-June 1st, whether they eat the whole cap this year or they spread it out to next year too, Tua's getting cut. This year is not a year where the Miami Dolphins are going to put a good product on the football field. If you're expecting more than 3-4 wins this year, you're setting yourself up for failure. We will be in the hunt for the number 1 pick in the draft next year. They're not. Trust me when I tell you, we will be in the hunt for a top 3 pick next year. We will get one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft. And that's when it really starts. We can have a fast rebuild with this group of guys. It depends on how they want to go about it. If Sully and Coach Half have a really good draft this year, and then you go into next year with 150 in cap space, you're able to get your quarterback in the first round, your quarterback of the future, you can go spend 150 like the Patriots did, and you can be a competitive team next in 2027. You can be a competitive team in 2027. I'm talking about winning playoff games competitive. It just depends on how much they're willing to go. Mendoza's coming out. He said it yesterday. And time will tell. We got to give it a chance. Time is the key factor. We got to see how things play out. We got to see what moves are made. Rabel proved we can do it any given year. Yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money. So we got to be open minded to free agency. And that's what gets me a little bit nervous because they're talking about not building through free agency whatsoever. They're talking about strictly building through the draft, retaining our own players. That's how you do things. That's how we did it in Green Bay. And that's why I said that's why you compare them to Green Bay is because they want to do things the way Green Bay did them. But very interesting. Again, you got to be impressed with the press conference. These guys seem like they care. They seem like they're very bright, intelligent guys. So we're gonna give them a chance. We're definitely gonna give them a chance, and we'll see where it goes. Again, it starts with reworking the salary cap, getting Tua out of here, obviously, and then it leads to the draft. We got to have a successful draft. We gotta have a successful draft this year. And JD, it's not all doom and gloom, but you gotta understand that and respect the fact that some of us are understandably worried, concerned, apprehensive because we've seen the story before. This is the fourth or fifth time that Stephen Ross has hired a first time head coach. A head coach that doesn't have a ton of experience. He doesn't have a ton of experience as far as leading and running a team. He doesn't have a ton of success. So you got to understand why some of us are, you know, some of us are worried. You got to understand it. There's definitely a lot of things that got to happen this year. It's going to be a very interesting time for the Miami Dolphins. It's going to take a while to find out if we got the right guys in place. I just hope that this doesn't backfire in our faces because another rebuild, another coaching regime, another GM search. Oh man, tiresome, tiresome. Well, JD, well, we shall see. I'm just going out based off what they've said so far. That's all I'm going off. They've said it out their own mouth that they're gonna build it the way that the Packers have built it. And I hope they do. I hope they do have their own spin. I do hope they have their own spin. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know what videos you'd like to see coming up. Again, this is the time of year where we're gonna get into the draft heavy. Let me know your list of team needs, what positions you want to break down in the draft, what players you'd like to learn more about, and we'll break these down. We'll discuss them, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's definitely fun to try to rebuild a team and try to get your team from zero to heroes. Right? We haven't hit rock bottom yet. We'll hit rock bottom at some point during this season when we struggle to win football games, and we're going to struggle, and it's going to be a tough year. But we're here for each other. We're here for each other. We're going to have 2, 3, 4 wins max. Hopefully, there's some players on this team that become diamonds in the rough that, late round picks that turn into future starters that help the rebuild process. But yeah, it should be a fun experience. Oh yeah, I'm still gonna be a fan. Absolutely, I'm still gonna fan. But it does start wearing thin on you, brother. It does start wearing thin on you. This isn't the year that we draft a quarterback, Miller. We don't go get a quarterback this year. Maybe late in the later rounds, but not. We don't waste a first or second round pick on a quarterback, in my opinion. I'd experiment with Jonah playing right guard or right tackle. I think that'd be a solid move for him. He would be better on the right side. Sackman, that's the thing too. They're gonna come up with a different offensive philosophy. Again, Mike McDaniel wanted agility, speed, quickness on the offensive line. Coach Half is talking about having a big, physical, strong offensive line. That's two different type of players. Maybe being more physical on the offensive line is a benefit to Jonah. Maybe that better matches Jonah's skill set. So maybe Jonah will be better under this new coaching staff, under this new management. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I do question where that leaves Aaron Brewer, because Aaron Brewer is not a big physical center. He's great out in space. He's great into that second level. He's got great agility, good speed. He's not big and physical. So does that mean we move on from Aaron Brewer? Does that mean we move on from Aaron Brewer? Time will tell. Time will tell. Do we trade him for picks? Sully likes Brewer, but that doesn't match what they were talking about. That doesn't match what they're trying to be. They said they want to be a big physical offensive line. That's not Brewer. You know what I mean? You can say that you like whatever you want to say that you like. But if you want to turn your team into a certain type of team, some players don't match that. They don't gel together. Again, hit that like button. We got a lot of things to talk about here in the near future. We're gonna start breaking down the draft. We got playoff games this weekend. I hate to say it, but I believe it's gonna probably be a. I'm gonna say Rams and New England in the Super Bowl. A matchup of the two top MVP candidates. Hopefully the Rams knock them off. Seattle. I think Seattle's probably the best team left. I just can't trust Sam Darnold. I just can't do it. I just can't trust Sam Darnold. I just can't trust Sam Darnold. Fire sale is incoming. Don't go buying jerseys, boy. Yeah, this would absolutely be the worst time to buy a jersey. Sully said Brewer is a core piece. But do you agree with me that that doesn't match? The two things don't equal out. Did they not say they want big, strong trenches? They want to solidify the trenches with big, strong physical players. Is Aaron Brewer fit that mold? No. So again, I ask you, are they lying to us? What's the truth here? What's the truth? Sully contradicting himself already. I mean, they say what they're supposed to say. Let's keep it real. Even when Coach Half first got up there and said, "I'm not one to write things down," bro, nobody talks like that if you don't know exactly what you're gonna say. He went too perfectly in rhythm. There was no pauses. No, he knew exactly what he was going to say and how he was going to say it. He had a teleprompter up there or something. Nobody talks like that. You got to take a second for your mind to gather its thoughts. He just was. I mean, it's easy to win the day when you prepare yourself for what you need to say. So yeah, I mean Brewer could have some trade value. There's not a lot of guys on this team that have trade value. Fitzpatrick might have some trade value. Brewer, Waddle, Achane. I don't think Patrick Paul's going anywhere. But yeah, I mean, a lot to figure out, a lot to discuss. I can't wait for the first dominoes to fall and see where we go from there. A lot of things to talk about. I can't wait for the first dominoes to fall and see what's up with this team. You can't go by the press conference because again, the press conference is strictly, this is me. I'm going to say exactly what you want. I'm going to give you all the right answers so you feel comfortable with who I am as a coach, as a person, as a team leader. And these guys are smart. They know what to say. But once they start making actions and making moves, that's when you tell what type of people they are and what type of team they envision. So we shall see. We shall see. Hit that like button. I love you. We'll get back at it Monday. Enjoy the football games. And we'll start breaking down this draft. We'll start going over. First off, we gotta identify the key team. What are the top team needs for this football team? Where should we start this rebuild at? Should we start it in the trenches? Obviously, we address the defensive line last year. I think if we go trenches, we got to concentrate on the offensive line. We got to figure out if Brewer's here to stay or if we got to replace him. Austin Jackson obviously got to be replaced. I wouldn't be surprised if they move on from James Daniels. He was a complete disappointment last year. So possible 3 offensive linemen needed. We need defensive backs. The Packers have always been big on their defensive backs and their secondary. Probably another safety, pass rusher, outside linebacker, quarterback, receivers. So a lot of team needs, and we'll break it all down. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share, and I will see you all Monday, or maybe I'll bust out a video tomorrow. You never know. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And Fins up forever and ever and ever, ever. Peace.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing, we scorching the floor. Marino the tour, we stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play by play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Phins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse, we the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.